Okay, Madeline, why don't you tell us where we were at, just lightly, just to kind of get the wheels rolling again. And then one of the things that I do want to do is we want to do some services, and we also want to talk about generic items at some point, okay, just to kind of preface where we're headed. But why don't you kind of tell us where we were at? Actually, Madeline, I'm going to actually have you come up to here and kind of just like a light refresh, just kind of like a, here's what we were working on, and here's kind of what I saw.
Oh, you're in trouble now.
No, I think it would help you to express or just kind of get some
It
ideas.
is, and I appreciate it. This morning, we were here, and, handling the customers coming in, which you guys are familiar with. This afternoon, we've been playing more with getting this stuff into our own environment, the tangible things,
Correct.
not yet to services yet. So we've spent a lot of time working with those purchase orders, those POs, getting our vendors created, which weren't there, but learning how to create those vendors and get them into place. And boy, the thought processes on all those screens gets pretty deep for my head sometimes. I mean, when I really stop and pay attention and read it, it all makes sense. But when you just see all of that in front of you, it's a tiny bit overwhelming right in the beginning.
For sure.
But I like the search feature that we spent so much time on. I think that's incredible. And I now can say I probably have that advanced search feature mastered now. I've got it figured out. But as soon as I say that, just watch what happens. But that search feature really helped. But those tying the POs into that inventory, which, technically we've been adding items to the inventory. I can just imagine, I mean, that's what I talk about, that play area. I want to get a whole bunch of inventory in that I can just see, so that when it comes up I can see, I can pop that information, create that pretend company in my head so I can see what's happening with that pretend company. But that is, and I like the tie-in of watching you track the data, put the invoices and everything in there. Our employers keep talking to us about, are you teaching your students to go paperless? And I go, well, we are, but the truth is, you're not going paperless. I think my students would go paperless, but you're not willing to go paperless, but you're just proving that we don't have to touch and fill paper all the time. What I see very much is a tax time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going, I think I'll put my own personal financial stuff in here too, because then at tax time, it's all there.
Yeah,
The storage is happening. I don't have to worry about off-site storage. I mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
Would the IRS accept a photocopy of a receipt? Or are you going to have to?
Well, I think, there's still questions, because there's still questions with emails and all of those types of things as far as what they will take in, as far as auditing goes. But if they walked in and saw this, what I do know to be true, as long as you're not hiding things and they can see the system and the format and all of that, they're not going to have a lot of grief with a system like this, because it's set, everything's there, you're following procedures, you have policies. In fact, all that documentation, even though it's photocopies. But you know what, the whole idea everybody's pushing, even I printed PDFs off for our tax accountant. I mean, I took him in and he didn't need to question a thing, and I said, is this okay? And he said, you know what, he says, we're going to have to cross that bar pretty soon. So I think on the books, there's no adjustment for talking about emails or digital or whatever, but as long as we show good faith in tracking our documents, I don't think there's going to be a problem with it.
I do know that some of these sales receipts that I have gotten before,
Fade.
they fade.
That's
So
why
I can go back 2 or 3 years,
Right.
and I can't read a thing off of it.
Those USU, the books and things, that's what I said to our tax guy. I said, I immediately scan those because I know in 2 months I won't be able to read them.
Yeah.
So the PDF becomes more valid. I'm still holding paper copies. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know if you get questions from companies about all that stuff.
You know what,
But that's a tax
even
issue.
in Adilas, we have paper stuff, but we don't file it.
Oh, it's the filing
But
process.
instead of putting it in a physical filing cabinet, I literally have a manila envelope at home.
Absolutely.
It has a little stack. I'll send it, we'll just stick it in a drawer, because all of our filing is done digitally, and then if we absolutely had to, we could go
If
back
you,
through.
see, and that's what I do at
It
home
saves
now.
so much time.
Because I'm crazy with files. I'm a business educator, you know. I'm
Yeah.
crazy with files. But Mark just laughs because I hardly use the files anymore because everything is just digital and I have it all organized and backed up and stored elsewhere. And I figure I'm the same as you. I have got to the point where I dare shred everything, but I have a filing drawer now that really, it's basically categories and I throw it in, but not this dating and sub-dating by date, sub-filing. That's crazy. So I think we're there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I went off on a tangent.
No,
totally
perfect.
That's
That's
not what you did this afternoon, but that's excellent.
It's great. Okay, so we talked about a couple things that we wanted to cover. One of them was generics, and the other one was services. Let's do services first, okay? So what let's do, just for fun, why don't we, usually when you're doing a service, you create yourself as the vendor, okay? So why don't, Cheryl, you're going to create the vendor for us, okay? Actually, why don't you come up here, and we're just going to create a new vendor, okay? And we're going to call it Logan Playground, okay? Just for, that's the name of our physical vendor, okay?
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to start thinking of some services. So while she's creating this vendor, you can just go right to vendor, that's fine. And then just search, just put LOG. And then hit search. If it's not there, go ahead and add it. And let's just call it, what did we say? Logan Services, Logan Training, what do we call it?
Playground.
Logan Playground. Okay, great, great. And then just put in a fictitious address or whatever.
And I have a Logan Playground too. Is that okay?
Perfect, perfect, yeah, absolutely. So she's just kind of filling in this little address here, but what this does is it's going to give us the starting so we can start assigning things to this. Just like we assigned inventory items to physically Walmart and Casco and, you know, whatever. This is going to end up being a placeholder that we're going to be able to assign some service items.
So we have to have a placeholder, but normally it would be us.
Well, ideally, like if under Adilas, we use ourselves as like, if I'm doing monthly service fees, this is Adilas is the vendor, and the part number is monthly service or something like that.
Okay.
Or optimization, or bookkeeping, or
Consulting.
or whatever, okay? But the vendor is all under Adilas. That's how we do it. But for you, if this is the name of our company, we're just saying Logan Playground right now because this is kind of this training area that we're doing, okay? You could technically, so they would actually create a vendor for theirs, MH5 Consulting would actually be the name of the vendor, and then they would have consulting and teaching and educating and setup and, you know, these are all different little items that would end up
So we
being.
would just subcategorize because we do about 8 different things.
So-
I'm visualizing the subcategories.
Yeah.
So the vendor's name is not consulting, the vendor's name is,
Well, we're at
Yeah.
MH5 because we got 5 in our family with the initials of MH. So
Okay.
that's creative.
okay, so MH5, but then you've got,
Okay, so there's a we have to figure out the levels, okay?
Okay.
So what we have is we go like this. A vendor can be tied to multiple items, okay? Each item can also be tied to a category. So it virtually goes like this. Vendor, category, item. It's almost like a stair step this way, okay? So if we have one vendor, MH5, and say they have a category called consulting and another category called training, okay? Then under the consulting, they might have hourly consulting, you know, like just
okay,
whatever. Like you kind of stack it, and what it ends up doing is eventually on your financials, it'll show up that way as well, okay? I had planned to kind of create a document that kind of showed like a flow chart, but basically what you have to think of is vendor, category, physical item type thing, and kind of stack it that way. So for instance, yours would be like this, okay? Say you got a whole bunch of jars and you're doing a generic thing. This leads right into a generic, we're creating a generic service, okay? You would go something like this. Cheryl's Herbal Business, okay? I've got jars, I've got herbs, these are my categories, okay? Under jars, I'm going to have Cheryl's, jars, 1 ounce amber bottle, 4 ounce amber bottle, 12 ounce amber bottle, okay? But that's all under the thing called jars or bottles,
Oh,
which is
okay.
under you as a vendor, okay?
Okay.
And so that's how you start stacking things. It's about 3 levels deep. You have vendor, category, and then the physical item. Okay, perfect. Go ahead and put the whole, okay, perfect. I see the success message, and I also see an ID number. See where it says pay EID 30762?
Oh, right.
Okay, perfect. So I know I'm new. So watch this. Hit create new PO. This is just another way to do it. We started with the vendor first.
Create new PO.
And we're going to tie it to a basic live. So start at the top, PO type. This would be a recommendation. If you're doing major PO stuff, I would read the help file for this page because it talks about the 4 or 5 different types of POs that we have. Live, request, special, builds, updates. Like it talks about all these different ones. Okay, that's a really good help file. So right here,
I mean, it's not really tied to inventory, right?
okay,
If we're talking services.
correct. So basically what we're doing here,
Do you
it's going to
have
end
a
up,
category that can be added that's a service category?
Absolutely.
Or do you just use this?
so why don't we do this? Let's stop for a second. Like, see that little Microsoft Word document right there? Why don't you click on Word? It's down on the bottom. Let's plan it out. Before we just start doing something, why don't we plan it out and then get a plan, okay? Awesome. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of make a plan, okay? We need a vendor. Okay, so what's our vendor going to be called? Okay, Logan Playground for this one, right?
Yeah, let's do.
Okay, which categories would we like to do? Let's say that we're doing some services. Let's just name some. These are categories, like general. Okay.
Like
Consulting.
consulting.
Yeah, consulting.
Consulting,
Okay.
training.
Okay.
I added.
Oh wow, that's good there, huh?
Well, for sure.
Training. I got my spelling from my mother. Okay.
Unfortunately, you got a lot better.
Maybe
technical
something
skills.
like technical support,
Okay.
tech support or something.
And
Okay.
I do a ton of editing, and it's its own category.
It's its own category? Okay, perfect. And the categories actually, one, it allows you to search by it, and 2, it allows you when you pull up your profit and loss statement, guess what it does? Hey,
Is what's-
what did I sell? Okay, and then it'll specifically categorize that. Editing, okay? Now let's go back in under consulting. Which items would we want to add under consult? Are you okay if I'm just tabbing in once to kind of figure out how we're going to do this?
Yeah, no,
Okay, so we're at the item level now.
Okay.
Under consulting, what do we want to do? We could even have one called consulting if we wanted to, like general consulting or.
Well, you said hourly consulting, monthly.
Yeah, well, what's a good one, Madeline? Or do you want just consulting? It could be under consulting and consulting.
Well, I mean,
It's totally
we
fine.
split ours out because I do like business office consulting, and Mark does the computer part. I mean, it's not even, it's beyond technical support. We do technical support.
I'm going to lower my font down just a little bit here, just so I have more room to kind of fake it. I think we'll still be able to read it fine, okay? Business office consulting. And then he does computer.
Correct. And those, I mean, that's what we run the subcategories under the consulting right now. It's just to keep his mostly for mine.
Okay, great. Is there any other ones?
I could probably sub under that, but that's everything.
Okay. Under training, what do we have?
Let's see, I do corporate training.
Okay,
So
corporate.
so I've got mine categorized into corporate training because I do like IHC, et cetera, which runs 1099s, that whole trip.
Is that how you spell corporate?
Yeah.
I'm terrible. Okay, what other kind of training
And
do you
then
have?
I call it community training, so if pay comes in for teachers groups or
Okay,
that kind of stuff.
perfect. Okay, what else do we have underneath there? If anything, like it doesn't have to be. I'm just trying to kind of figure out roughly what we're. Madeline, we're going to kind of lean on you, okay? Pretend
Well,
like.
and I have an educational category because I
Okay.
do training for other colleges. And then I actually bring in separate from custom fit when Sterling has me do. I keep it separate from my personal, the subcontracted corporate.
Great, great, love it, awesome.
Sorry, this doesn't have to be our.
No,
but that
It's
helps.
perfect, it's perfect, it's perfect. And I'm hoping you're kind of seeing this little light layout, but guess what? Eventually when I get to my financials, it's going to look very similar to this. Once we have this as a plan, I will show you how we'll go in and we'll be like, I know who the vendor is. It looks like I'm going to need 4 categories. We'll add 4 categories, and then we'll start adding items in according to that, and it'll be a piece of cake. I can match this, no problem. Okay. Technical support. Do you have anything right there, or Shannon? Did you want to say something under
No,
there?
I was just trying to throw categories to help. You don't even have to keep it if we don't want it.
No, I mean, we do tech support. We don't usually charge tech support. We'll charge it, but that's part of phone, like you can do phone consultations and on-site visits.
Yeah.
Oh, did I spell on-site or is it
IT.
IT?
Mhm.
P-I-S-A-T-S, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, any other tech support, tech stuff? Maybe you have a monthly plan or something like that, like
Okay.
VIP plan. Okay, editing. Madeline, what do we got here?
Well, I run my editing, I run contracts with publishing houses, so I have to keep them because again, they're 1099 straight
Okay.
versus just, I don't even know what I call it. It's community, resumes, all that kind of stuff that I just help people with.
So it's
I
almost
actually
like a
do.
commercial and personal, right?
It is very much, because it's the 1090, whether you get a 1099, you have to worry about it. Separates how I report it.
Let's pretend like this for now, okay?
That works, that's great.
Okay, so can you guys see kind of our general thing? Like we haven't even hit Adilas, we're in Microsoft Word right now. But what we did is we planned it out, vendor, category, item. And then we're going to have, this is going to be our vendor, these are going to be our things. So here's how we're going to play this, okay? The Logan Playground, check this out. We already have this particular, I'm going to stop your PO for just a second, and I'm just going to show you. Under vendor, and I think Madeline added another one.
I did, I put campus
Okay.
too.
No problem. So this is Madeline's, but under Logan Playground, we're going to actually put some stuff. And you can do this however you want to, okay? But watch this. So we already have the vendor, okay? The next thing we need to do is what's called our categories. So watch this. I'll go home. I'll go to the parts and general inventory. This is where I'm looking for a link. It's not here. I need a permission. You guys know how to do permissions, don't you? Watch this. We're going to do permissions, okay? So home, users, find your name. Okay, this one here is going to be under system reports because that's where parts are tied. And there's a little thing that says part admin. And once again, the CW just means that we can change it, okay? Corp-wide setting. I'm going to assign myself to admin on that. And then I'm going to scroll down and submit. Then I'm going to go right back to where I was. Home, parts and general inventory. That's what I was looking for right there, that little link. Okay? Add, edit the categories. Okay, so currently we have one called basic inventory. So here's what we want to add. Have you guys added those permissions with me? Madeline, I'd like you to do consulting and training. Cheryl, did you add that permission as well? For
Yes, but
the
how
admin?
did you get that to add in CP parts category? Where
Okay,
was
so
that?
here's how I got there. From the home page,
Homepage.
I went parts and general inventory.
Okay.
I need to go into the other, I created a second company, I need to switch that.
That's okay. Normally what would happen is if in an ideal
one
world,
here,
like you would
okay.
just kind of be doing this as a setup type of thing. Okay.
Okay, so I'm in this search for a part and
Okay,
Okay, so-
great. There's a link right here, and you have to have the admin permission in order to play with this. This is setting up your categories. So I want you to click on this, and right now, oh, perfect. Madeline's already added the consulting one in there. Okay, that's great. So here's what we're doing. Cheryl, you are going to be adding tech support and editing,
Okay.
and Madeline, you're doing consulting and training. Okay.
Okay, so categories, I'm doing tech support and then editing, right?
Correct. So that's the category level. This is called a parts category. Now, if the word parts category throws you off, what it is it's technically, we're going to run labor and services through a hybrid piece of the parts department. It's just not going to be monitored like a physical item. And we'll make a little switch when we add the actual items. Okay?
Okay, I've got it in.
Okay, so I'm going to come back here to Atlas and I'm going to refresh my page and we'll see where we're at. Perfect. Consulting, editing, tech support, training. Okay, piece of cake. Piece of cake. Now, these little things that we just added here, they're now part of, like if I go to the parts homepage, look at this. If I click under categories here, I now have availability to search underneath those categories that you just created for us, okay? So, here's the next little thing we're going to do. And to get us going, Cheryl
How
already...
did you get to,
Yes.
how did you get to CP Parts and General Inventory homepage?
From home, you go general inventory pool if you're doing the map. There are 50 million different ways to this thing, okay?
Okay.
You want me to show you about 5? No, just kidding.
Which one do you want to know? Okay, it's back to this connection or something. Can you change what it is? So I'm going on this way. Nope, it's not letting me.
Your browser, because we're still on, so we're fully live. It may just be your computer that got kicked off.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see if I can go. Okay, everything I'm going to right now is telling me.
Let's see what we can do here.
Mine was having that problem too, I'm not sure.
Well, half off if I spend about an hour straight.
I know, it just keeps changing. I was fine for a while and then it's back again, so.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're here at the parts and general inventory homepage.
okay, okay.
So, I mean,
Just go back there. Just
Yep.
go there. Okay,
basically all I was doing was showing you that the categories that we just created,
right there.
they now exist as part of our system, okay?
Okay.
And as we start billing and doing some stuff, guess what? These categories automatically transfer themselves to your P&L, okay? So, which is your profit and loss statement or your income statement, okay?
Okay, and so now when I go parts number description, I'm really talking about the items that we have.
Okay, correct. So I'm going to go back here, and what we're going to do, hang on, before we do this, let's go here. POs, we didn't actually create a new PO. Madeline, I'm going to have you create a PO, and Cheryl, I'm going to have you create a PO, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to divvy up those same things, and you're going to create those items, okay? So the vendor already exists, so we're just going to say create a new PO.
But I should do it in Logan Playground, right?
Your choice if you want. It doesn't matter for this
Okay,
particular
and
thing.
if I want it to show up, I probably need to be in.
You know what? Why don't you do yours under Campus 2, and why don't you do yours under Logan Playground?
Okay.
So you're going to end up creating a new PO. Okay.
Okay, and so I am,
So you'll create your PO. You'll say vendor, and you'll go LOG, and you're going to say create the PO under Logan Playground for you, Cheryl.
okay, so I'm in here, so I'm going Logan.
And you can even just put, it only, do you see how it only lets you put it
Oh,
forward?
okay.
You can put less than that if you want to as well.
Okay, Logan Playground, so create the
Okay, your PO type is going to be basic live.
PO. Okay,
Okay, under your notes, I would just put something like setting up services or something like that. And I'm going to trick the system and say, yes, they are in my possession, which will allow me to add them even though I'm not physically going to ever count them. So I'm going to switch this to yes.
yes.
And if I want, I can even put right here, setup. I just put it in as the outside invoice number. It's just for fun. It's not required at all. And then you would say add PO.
Okay, so I've got a PO.
Okay, perfect. I didn't hit add PO, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to PO homepage and get on your PO as if I was on your. So the one that you just created, here's yours, Cheryl. and I'm just going to click edit. You should look at this exact same page, correct?
Okay, let's see, I am looking for,
You're the
Should-
only
at the top, it should
participant
say
in this
PO line items.
conference.
yes.
Press
And you
any
should
key
be on
to
14.
continue this conference.
Awesome. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to we're going to divvy up these things. So what you do is you have to figure out vendors, way up high, categories, is how you categorize your items, and then each item underneath that needs its own tube. Okay?
Right, but what if like, so bottles,
Okay,
like if
so
I have consultation or,
bottles has its own tube. The only difference is you flip it and say monitor the quantity. Okay? It's a physical countable item versus a uncountable item, which is like a labor or a service.
but it's a category, so it would still be the same.
Okay,
Me as a vendor.
okay, don't get messed up.
Okay.
Right here, watch, okay? I could add one right here. Bottles, 1 ounce amber, 2 ounce. The only difference, this thing that says bottles right here, it doesn't hurt anything. The main thing is like, oh, this physically counts quantities. The categories, they could care less. It's just a categorization of how it's cascading. This right here, editing doesn't have anything on it that actually says count or don't count, okay? But this guy does when I set it up. It's at the item level is where you say count quantity or don't count quantity. Am I physical or am I unlimited? Okay? And so it's on the item level where that kind of comes into the play. Perfect. Madeline, how we doing back there?
We're ready to roll?